Hey everybody, today what we're going to do is we're going to be going over some information specifically aimed at two-year colleges and how SPS can be an asset. My name's Brad Conrad. I'm the director of the Society of Physics Students in Sigma Pi Sigma. With me.
And I am also James Merrick. I am the programs manager for the Society of Physics Students.
And we have a stellar two-year SPS advisor with us that'll be talking sort of in the middle of the presentation about their specific experiences with an SPS chapter to two-year school. So this is meant to be short and brief and not bore you. Background information is that there are two organizations. There's the Society of Physics Students, and that organization is open to any department, any college, any institution that has that offers physics courses at a two-year, a four-year college, or university, and it was founded in 1968. And currently, there are over 800 chapters across the United States. There is also an honor society associated with SPS called Sigma Pi Sigma. That exists at four-year schools, colleges, and universities, and that provides sort of a lifelong opportunity to connect to the broader community. But today we focus on the Society of Physics students, which many two-year schools have. And so I just want to start things off by sort of talking about what it means to be an advisor. And so really what SPS is SPS is that club or group or chapter, whatever it is that exists at a school that's the focal point for sort of physics, engineering, and astronomy within a department or a college. And the way I usually like to frame it is there's no such thing as a hands-off advisor. Advisors, especially at two-year schools, really need to be sort of hands-on and really guiding the club because of the turnover at these kinds of institutions happens a little bit more rapidly. And another way of thinking of it is that the SPS advisor really is sort of the institutional memory of the SPS club, because student leaders will come and go, sometimes every 2 years, sometimes as fast as every semester. And that's okay, because we want to make sure that those students feel included and are part of the community. And so, to me, the way I normally think of it is the one thing the chapter or the club or whatever it is the group calls itself can do is sort of start traditions. And this could be a fall picnic. It could be like the pumpkin chunkin'. Here you have a picture of a trebuchet or a catapult firing pumpkins. This is in Wisconsin, I think. You could have standing outreach events with local grade schools or high schools, or even maybe if just the club provides tutoring opportunities at the home institution. That's good. It could also be trips, like maybe every spring you do a trip to the nuclear reactor or to a national lab. And it could also be just astronomy nights when there's cool asteroid events or occultations or all kinds of fun things. To build on that, I think the core thing of SPS and what really SPS is that SPS and the club at an institution, it's more than just a place where physics happens. I mean, we're not places where we go in like robots and do coursework and then we go back home. We work on the problems together and we do things outside of class. And it's all the extracurricular activities that really sort of make a college experience really valuable and sort of built into the student's sort of professional and personal life. So some things that student clubs provide, it provides like a support network because it's not always easy studying physics. And also there's all the life stuff that happens, particularly for all the different kinds of people coming through universities and colleges. So they can just talk things out amongst themselves. It's also sort of their first professional, or maybe their second profession, but it's their first group of in the discipline colleagues. So they're meeting people that are also studying physics, engineering, and astronomy, and they might be colleagues and friends for the rest of their life. It provides a safe space for people to go over concerns and to work on homework, and it's also a place where career and professional development can happen. And so this club really is sort of like it's a prototype for students on how to sort of navigate all the different facets of a career that's involved in physics and astronomy. And for faculty and those that teach the classes, it's really a microcosm for all of the things going on nationwide. I mean, there's other faculty, there's students. Eventually students go off and do things and you bring them back as alumni. It's this really nice professional and community sort of engagement tool. So in short, SPS really exists to sort of help you do your job and help you form the community that you want at your institution. And so just to kind of drive the point home, a couple years ago, actually not that long ago, I think a year or two, there was a JTOP report that came out, and they came out with these core tenets of improving departments and SPS chapters. And so there's sort of curricular features on the left-hand column and extracurriculars on the right-hand column. But these are things that successful programs do, and by it's self-judged success. So where people feel like they have a great department, whether it's at a 2-year or a 4-year institution. And I've highlighted some of them in red, which are really in the wheelhouse of two-year institutions. Undergrad research is something that can happen. Undergrad research, communication skills, so presenting what students are doing, even if it's just fun things like, oh, I took this clip from a bad physics movie and I'm talking about why it could never happen. But it's also the extracurricular features where SPS really shines. So it's faculty and staff and students interacting. It's the strong sense of community development. It's bringing back students that have graduated last year or 2 years or even 10 years ago and having them talk to students. It's the advising and mentoring that happens. And it's sort of the outreach activities and common initiatives. And if students are able to congregate in a place together and form an identity and form a group, a sense of group, that's really important. So you can read this. I encourage you to go to the JTOP report and check this stuff out. But these are all things that SPS can really help your chapter do. James, you want to talk about some other features?
Sure. So as part of the national structure of the Society of Physics Students, we really helped to provide student voice and student leadership as well as faculty leadership. And the way in which we've done that is to create the SPS National Council. So all of our 800 plus SPS chapters are broken down geographically into what we call zones or regions, of which we have 18. Each zone has an elected zone counselor who is a faculty member and an elected associate zone counselor who is a student. And these two entities for each zone are the individuals who really represent the voice of the chapters within that zone. This year, the 2018 to 2019 academic year, we don't currently have any members on the National Council who are from 2-year institutions, but I definitely encourage this group, if you are interested, to apply to become an elected zone counselor or associate zone counselor so that we really maintain the voice of our 2-year institutions. And just to give you a snapshot of how the zones are represented, we've got a zone map where you see all 18 zones. You are able to get in contact, and I encourage you to get in contact with your elected zone representatives to really talk with them about the specific needs of your chapter and make sure that your voice is heard on the national level as
well. So one of the things that I get asked a lot, and one of the things that's a big concern for you, is that why would you want to be an SPS advisor? And I think the key is that it helps the community and it helps the students, but it does all of the things that I think we want to happen in an institution. It can strengthen department retention and recruitment through networking and communication, and stimulate interest not only within the club, but more importantly within your college or department. It can really help. You can promote alumni and promote interests, like a public interest in physics, whether it's through outreach or having speakers come back in and talk to the class about how they use physics in their careers. It's a way to connect outside of the institution, whether it's to local colleges, whether it's to regional industry or regional physicists, or even at a national level at some of the national conferences. But really, it's a good way to you can help guide students to be successful, and whether that's furthering their education or going and getting amazing jobs and coming back and explaining to new students the opportunities available to them. You can really have a much deeper role in that process through being an advisor. And so the responsibilities and roles are what you probably imagine them to be. You really do just need to help guide the students and to help them do things that they want to do. And that corresponds to asking them to do some things they may not want to do initially, but are probably very helpful for them. So identifying chapter goals and sort of communicating with not only the students, but also the other faculty in the department. It's keeping records and communicating what you're doing to people outside, encouraging them to apply for things like travel awards and scholarships. It's a lot of asking them, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? And encouraging them to think about things that they're really excited about and want to do. Maybe let's go to FizCon. Maybe it's to an outreach event with a local high school. These things are really good. And the other thing is students often don't know where to look, and more importantly, they don't even know what to look for. So in pointing them to, hey, there are scholarships. Oh yeah, there are travel awards we can apply for. Did you know that there's a national conference coming up where you can talk about your outreach or your research? These are things they just don't know about, and a little push can send them very far and do a lot of great things. The last thing is that, especially at two-year institutions, transition is difficult because sometimes students are transitioning out every semester or every year or two, but it's hard to get somebody around for a good long period of time. So one of the things you need to do is sort of build into your program or build into your club is this idea of these are the things we do and this is why we do them. And the sort of standing things that you do, but also encouraging them to, if they really want to take on a project that's new, help them do that as well. So it's this double-edged sword of tradition versus having them do things that they're excited about inherently. So with us, we have Alex. Alex, did you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your experiences?
That is fantastic. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Bond. I am physics faculty at Northern Virginia Community College, and I've been here for a year now. This is the start of my second year. I was tapped pretty early on to be the advisor of an existing SPS chapter and physics club because the previous advisor, who had been the advisor for the previous 20 years or so since the inception of the chapter, had retired and was no longer able to do it. So I was really excited to sort of inherit this existing robust research legacy and sort of be built in with this enthusiastic college support for the chapter and what the chapter was trying to do. My personal experience has been, I think, probably similar to yours, and I think it really resonates with some of the things that Brad and James are talking about as far as turnover and student leadership and the frustrations that come with trying to direct those transitions as an advisor without being like, while still giving the students space for it to be their club. So that's something that I've been struggling with for the last year, and I have some ideas about how to sort of effect those transitions and sort of strike that balance this coming year. So hopefully if we do another of these webinars, maybe James and Brad will have me back and I can talk about how successful I was or wasn't. The other thing they asked me to speak about were some suggestions I might have for ways that SPS National can support two-year college chapters. And the idea, I had a couple ideas, one of which is a Slack channel might be helpful to connect advisors at two-year colleges, a way to sort of share advice, what works, what doesn't, ask questions of each other. If I'm looking to start a chapter, what has been everyone else's experience? It's sort of a way to get quick feedback about something like that. And I at confession time, I have been very remiss in reaching out to my zone, and that's on my to-do list for this year as well. But I think it might be helpful, or at least it would have been helpful to me, if the zone leadership came to visit, or if there was a standing structure whereby the zone could, chapters in a particular zone could meet, not necessarily to share research, but just to share, organizational infrastructure almost. So that's those are some thoughts that I have about the experience, which so far, even given the struggles, has been really very rewarding, and I'm very excited to look for this year and then the year after that, where we sort of establish some of these transitions that Brad was just talking about, and let the students run with them next time. So thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share.
Thanks, Alex. And in case there's any questions, we might ask you some questions along the line. But to kind of bounce off that idea, every zone gets together, or at least hopefully every year, a zone gets together, faculty and students, for a zone meeting. And James will talk about that a little bit in a slide to come. But the idea is that SPS, not one thing works for every institution, not one thing works for every zone. So we try very hard to find what works for you. And having a workspace Slack channel, that's great. Maybe it's an email thread that just you all know each other and you add people and it comes and goes, and it's a Google group. But meeting each other occasionally, or being able to connect and share what's going on, especially with having students from different community colleges connect and realize they're not the only one doing this, that's really powerful, and that happens at zone meetings. So James, do you want to tell us about some of the stuff specifically that the two-year colleges, specifically students and faculty, can go over?
Sure. So we do have quite a few awards, various programs and resources that are available to the entire membership base. All of this information is really easy to find on our website, which is SPS National. And under the Programs and Awards tab, you'll actually see a lot of what the next few slides will go over in a lot more detail. I do want to just talk a little bit more in detail about some of the resources that we do have available to all of our members, not just our TYC members, but these are resources that I think are particularly useful for two-year college students. So the first is our Careers Toolbox. This is a great set of tools that we have to provide to our members to help them kind of navigate the their career trajectory. So included in the Careers Toolbox, which can be found online, and you actually can request a hard copy of the Careers Toolbox as well, comes a knowledge and skills assessment. There's some information about what networking is and how to do networking well to help land a job. There's some points about informational interviewing and writing good resumes and cover letters and the like. Sort of continuing with the resources that we have to help students secure jobs through our partnership with the American Institute of Physics Career Network. We've launched the SPS Jobs portal, and this is a really great job posting site that provides both entry-level positions, internships, and REUs to our members. So this is a site that is only viewable to our SPS National members, and faculty are able to post onto SPS Jobs as well for any internships or REU summer experiences that they have as well. And then finally, I want to give a call out to our grad school shopper. This is something that we at the SPS National level are really excited about, that has recently joined our team. This is a comprehensive directory of sort of all of the physical science graduate level programs. You are able to find information such as what sort of courses, prereq courses are needed to get into the grad program, some different statistical information about the makeup of the grad program and the grad school itself, as well as other things that would be helpful to know as you're navigating the graduate school selection process. So all three of these resources are free and available to our SPS National members. I definitely encourage this group to really take note of these resources and make sure that you're sharing them with your students and other faculty. So one of the things that we do quite a bit at SPS National is provide funding and allocate financial resources to our members. So we've got and sort of broken down our award cycle into really three main time periods. I'll just sort of quickly go over this list, but our first set of awards happen in the fall, and all 4 of these awards are have an application deadline that is due November 15th of each year. In general, these awards are given to chapters to support outreach activities with our Future Faces of Physics and Marsh White Award, and then also to promote and support research projects. Alex Bond's chapter at Nova Community College actually received a chapter research award 2 years ago, and I do know that they were able to really supplement their research funds with the funds that we provided through the chapter research award. So that's definitely a good one for TYCs to utilize to help support their members get involved in physics research. And then lastly, we also have our Sigma Pi Sigma chapter projects. The spring represents sort of the next deadline, and that deadline is March 15th. And we've got 2 awards that I'll focus on here. So our Outstanding Undergraduate Research Award, you can think of this award as really one that is encouraging and supporting some strong research work that has been done over the course of the academic year. That can either be done at the host institution, through a student's REU, or elsewhere. And then lastly, we've got our Outstanding Chapter Advisor Award, which celebrates those advisors, both at TYCs and 4-year institutions, who have been exceptional leaders to their SPS chapters. Also in the spring, if you look towards the bottom of this chart, we do provide an array of different scholarships. I'll talk a little bit more about those scholarships and those that are specific to the TYC community in the next slide. But I do want to also stress, Brad mentioned that a lot of what our students do and faculty encourage our students to do is to travel and present their research at a national physics meeting. We provide funding support to students to attend those meetings and to share their research and to network and really learn and get to know other members of the physics community. So we've got travel awards that provide up to $200 for students to attend and present their research. And then we've got reporter awards, which are also offered up to $200 for students to attend and report out about their experience at a national conference. So as I mentioned, there are a few scholarships that are just for our TYC members. So these are ones that I definitely recommend you encourage your students to apply for. Again, the deadline for our scholarships is March 15th. So the first is the Peggy Dixon Award or Scholarship, and this is one that provides $2,000 of funding for your members who are transitioning from a 2-year college or institution into a 4-year physics bachelor degree program. That's the only requirement for that scholarship. So if you've got folks who are transitioning out of your TYC into a 4-year program, I definitely recommend they apply for the Peggy Dixon Award. The next 2 awards that we have are for folks at TYCs who are interested in pursuing a career in education. So there's the Mary Beth Monroe Scholarship and the SPS Future Teacher Scholarship. Both scholarships would require that the students provide some indication that they are interested in teaching. So they're either part of a teaching program or curriculum, or they have a clear indication that they are interested in pursuing teaching as a career. And then just to round out some other programs that we offer, outreach is a really big component of many, if not all, of our SPS chapters. And we at the SPS National Office really try to make students' experiences with outreach very easy. So 2 of the things that we're really excited about within the outreach category. The first are what we call SOCs, which are Science Outreach Catalyst Kits. These are free to apply for and receive. They're sort of make and takes, if you will, of all the materials that are needed to conduct a really great outreach event at all levels. So that can be K through 12 or with the general public. And then we've also got a webpage that consists of about 20 or so low-cost science demonstrations. Each of those are sort of written out based upon the audience with which your chapter or your members are performing that outreach activity. Next, we've got a really awesome 10-week-long internship summer program. That's a great opportunity. Not only do we bring the interns to Washington, D.C., but there are really diverse placement sites where we place interns. So some of the interns work on Capitol Hill in the public policy and advocacy realm. We've got some great science communication internships, some research internships, outreach, and education as well. Those applications, like the scholarship application, is due January 15th. And then finally, Brad, did you want to talk a little bit about PhysCon?
Yeah, so one of the things that the Sigma Pi Sigma Honor Society does is they put on a congress, a physics congress, for undergraduates in physics and astronomy and related physical sciences. And so in 2019, we'll be going to Providence, Rhode Island. We expect 1,500 undergrads in physics and astronomy. And this is a really unique experience. This is not your normal conference. It's part conference, it's part workshop, it's part retreat, and it's part congress. So this is an awful lot of you interacting with other people and seeing and doing and going places. And then we have only 5 talks, but they're all really luminaries in the field and really some crazy people, including Nobel Prize winners. So it's a great time in November of 2019, and it's subsidized by the American Institute of Physics. So it's about as affordable as we can possibly make it.
So 2 other things that I want to point your attention to by way of different programs that we offer. So we have relaunched the Journal of Undergraduate Reports in Physics, or otherwise known as JTOP. We're really, really excited at the National Office about this publication. This is a way to get your students and your members published in a peer-reviewed publication. This is something that we do annually, so this is released every summer. We've sort of broken out the publication into 2 parts, if you will. The first really focuses on all of the great research that our members perform over the course of the school year. The second part of JTOP focuses on reports from many of the different programs that I just mentioned, our awards, our internship program, some of our science policy programs as well. So this is something that if you are currently an SPS member or have members in your chapter, they will receive a printed version of JTOP each summer, and then this will also live online as well. So this is huge. It's a way that we can really beef up the resumes and CVs of our student members and give them an opportunity to be published in a peer-reviewed publication. And then next, we've launched the Alumni Engagement Program. So one of the things that Brad mentioned earlier was really making sure we kind of bridge those connections between current undergraduate members who are either at TYCs or 4-year institutions, and bridge the connection between them and the greater physics community. One way that we can accomplish this is through our Alumni Engagement Program. So we invite any alumni of SPS or any current Sigma Pi Sigma member to join the Alumni Engagement Program. And those alumni can interact with undergraduates in a couple of different ways: mentorship, job shadowing, providing informational interviews to members, and chapters can ask alumni to engage with them through a speaking opportunity, either in person or virtually. So this could be best practices for your SPS chapter, providing advice about a career path, really the whole gamut of things that an alum can do with a current member. So this program, like I mentioned, is fairly newly launched. The URL is on the slide here. I encourage you all as faculty to share this with alums who've come through your institution. I encourage you to sign up for this program. And then I also encourage you to have your members apply, or rather to find an alumni member to come back and speak with them on their campus or virtually.
And just a little bit about structure, just on how you might want to set up your club. So when you set up your bylaws, you can set up the chapter however you want, or the club. So the elected board or the e-board, often there is a president and a vice president and a secretary and a treasurer. You can have as many other officers as you want. I usually say that 5 or 6 is a great number, but with any committee, the more you add, the crazier it gets. The one things I do recommend is that you should have regular meetings just with the officers to kind of talk with them and help guide them and mentor them, but also have meetings where everyone's invited and be more inclusive than exclusive. We always want everyone to feel welcome in SPS. Another thing is that SPS is a really good focal point for the department or the college. So put flyers up everywhere. Invite everyone to come, because we have lots of people in SPS that are not physics majors. They're engineering majors or English majors or art majors, and that's because they like the community. Make sure that you're thinking about, in a given year, who might be a good person to kind of pick up the torch next year, because you want to make sure that you're thinking ahead, and if things are going well, you want to continue that momentum forward. So however you want to structure it, it's up to you, because whatever is your situation is unique. There's different ways you can be a member. So individuals can apply for membership for $24 a year. It's great if you have just 1 or 2 people that want to be an SPS national member. If you have at least 5, you can sign up you can do a group membership, and you get a discount. So the more people that sign up, the the larger the discount. I think it's up to 25%. And they get just same as the regular membership. And then a new program we've launched is the chapter membership, which is fantastic, a fantastic value, we feel. So for $350, the school can pay it, or the chapter or the department, whatever. But you can send us a list of up to 200 people, whether that's students, faculty, people in physics classes, and we will offer them membership. And they get electronic SPS Observer, they get Physics Today, but we also send the chapter a bunch of things that are specifically designed to support the identity of the chapter. Like the chapter gets a bunch of careers toolboxes. They get a sock, so while supplies last. They get a discount at the SPS store. And we send pins and a bunch of communications specifically to the chapter. So if you really want to make SPS a department-wide or a college-wide thing, this third option might be for you. There's ways of connecting with SPS at the regional and national levels. This is more details. We can get into it later. Just know that there's lots of opportunities, and these slides are available for you to check out later. And there's lots of different things that a club can do. So here's a laundry list of things that I have seen clubs do. But all this information is in the SPS handbook, which is on the SPS website. If you have a space where students can sort of call their own and have like that place where they congregate as they want and work on homework, can maybe eat food there, but they can really own that space, that's really helpful to the identity of a club, because it's a safe space for them. It's a place that they own. It's not the big university with everybody else, but it's the club space, it's the department space. And so just do make sure that it's being inclusive and safe, because we want everyone to feel welcome. There's lots of ways you can fundraise. We have a fundraising page about that, but know that a good method is to maybe pizza, selling pizza, t-shirts. You can also sell coffee. You can identify priorities, and if you can find something your chapter wants to do, they'll fundraise for it. And I've seen schools raise thousands of dollars every year through very simple, small things that they do throughout the year. And lastly, and one of the most important slides, is that everyone is welcome in SPS. And so as long as you have an interest in physics, you like physics, that's great. You don't have to be a physics major. And we want to make sure that whenever we're communicating, we're being inclusive of everybody, particularly those people that might maybe traditionally underrepresented in physics. And so we have a statement on this and some resources to help you make sure that your chapter is inclusive and as diverse as possible. There's some other resources here, like manuals and the handbook, resources for chapters and advisors. You can pause the video and go to those links if you want, or click on the links. And if you have specific questions, these are the email portals that I would advise you to use. And if you have any question at all and you don't want to send it, just send it to sps@aip.org, and someone will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So just thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. And we hope that you have fun with setting up your SPS chapter. And if there's anything else that we can do to help your club, your students, or your faculty, please reach out to us.